When it comes to Ghost Recon Wildlands, unless you're playing by yourself on the easiest difficulty, just running through bases with a machine gun, the game actually has a good amount of depth and a lot of fun to be had. Unfortunately though, its replayability is kind of stunted unless you're into the PvP modes, which if you're like a lot of Ghost Recon Wildlands players, you might not be. And the reason I say that is because a lot of Ghost Recon Wildlands players bought into the game because it is a PvE focused co-op open world game, and they didn't really buy it to compete against other players in competitive settings. A lot of the game's loot and weapons and gear and items and whatever you want to call it, a lot of the game's post-launch added content is found within Spec Ops crates and Prestige crates and Ghost War crates. These drops are not at all terrible, and they do give you some nice things, like no duplicates. The thing is earning them kind of feels detached from the gameplay, and that's a problem in my mind. When you're playing in the open world in tier mode on extreme difficulty, getting kills, spotting enemies, destroying things, completing missions gives you tier points, and these tier points bring you to a higher level until you hit the level cap. After that, the game doesn't exactly feel as riveting to play. But honestly, this game, though not being a looter shooter, is chocked full of loot. Weapon variants, camos, tattoos, voice lines, gestures, pieces of clothing, and even playable characters if you want to play as Jackal or Ash or Pulse or really any Rainbow Six Siege character for the most part, you can in Wildlands. If you played the game, I don't need to tell you how much loot is inside of it. Now, what if taking down a convoy, stealing a plane, killing bosses again, and overall just playing the game, basically anything that would give you a mission complete notification or a tier points acquired notification, could potentially give you a Spec Ops crate, a Ghost War crate, or a Prestige crate. And also, what if random enemies had a chance of dropping one of these crates for you that you could then pick up? Now, before you say this kind of fucks with the realism of the game, these crates are already in the game, they are already earnable through various means in the game, but not really directly. It's not like it tells you, hey, if you do this boss today, you get a Spec Ops crate, or this boss has a 50% chance of dropping a Prestige crate, or if you grab this convoy, it has a 10% chance of dropping this, and this would just add that in. I think that'd be a really good idea. It would kind of make it like a pseudo looter shooter, but of course with a set loot pool. Now I think that the boxes you get from these random events, whether it's you kill an enemy and they drop a crate or whatever, I think those boxes should be able to drop duplicates, otherwise I think you'd run out of items to get pretty quickly. There is a set amount of loot, and it's not like they're adding in new loot every day. Duplicates would give you prestige credits, that's kind of normal. But also, I don't know why anybody would complain about this ruining the realism if they're playing on tier mode. Tier mode basically turns the game into an RPG where leveling up yourself and your guns is important. You get your tier system leveled up, that tier system gives you items, and you get a multiplier on resources you grab, and then you can get more resources to level up your guns more so that you're dealing more consistent damage within the extreme tier mode. Do you see what I'm saying here? If you wanted it to be really realistic, you'd probably play on a different difficulty than extreme, because extreme makes a lot of enemies more bullet spongy and like inhuman levels of alert. You'd want to turn off your heads up display all the way, and you probably aren't going to be engaging in loot boxes or crates or goofy items or cosmetics, and you're probably going to be playing the game in a role-playing way, and that's totally fine. And the nice thing about my system that I'm proposing is that it would be linked to the tier system, because I feel like if you're okay with the tier system, you wouldn't mind enemies and certain events and missions dropping you some loot. The game does a really good job of compartmentalizing all of its features, so if you just wanted to play in a role-playing type of way, you can do that solo, with AI squad mates, with friends, with randoms. And while you're being super cool and tactical, someone else might be playing in extreme tier mode, leveling up and trying to get as many items as possible and hoping for that weapon drop that they really want. Now I know I would grind Ghost Recon Wildlands a lot more if I knew killing an enemy might drop a Spec Ops crate and that Spec Ops crate might have something I want in it. I just imagine like sniping in Wildlands, like taking out a guy at like 500 meters, and then I see that he drops a crate, like a little glow, it'll be like a little glow, almost like an engram or something from different video games, where, you know, it glows, it's like, oh, here's the crate. If I saw that, I'd be like, oh, I'm gonna sneak into that base and go get that item, or I'm gonna go clear this base out with a helicopter, and then I'm gonna go grab that item. It would be really satisfying to run into a base with a fucking machine gun and kill 8 dudes, and then one of them just like drops a crate, you grab it, and it has that gun you wanted in it. That would be really fun, or a vehicle, or even just an arm tattoo. It would add some replayability. If it's a duplicate, you get prestige credits, and that goes towards your next crate that you can buy anyway. I think on the map, when you select a mission, it should tell you what the percentage is of getting, whether it's a Prestige crate, a Ghost War crate, or a Spec Ops crate. And I think the system is good because it doesn't reinvent the game, it just adds a new context to playing in tier mode. If you don't want to feel like you're playing some pseudo looter shooter, then just turn off tier mode. Tier mode is already kind of like a pseudo RPG in a lot of ways, with a leveling system that's tied to being able to upgrade your weapons to deal more damage. But not everybody wants to fully level up every gun in the game, and not everybody wants to do that. So maybe giving tier mode an extra edge, because for me, I'm just gonna level up like maybe 7 guns. I could see maybe 7 different weapons that I would want to spec into and spend my supplies on. And after that, tier mode is going to be kind of repetitive, and I might put the game down for good. Of course, unless I'm in the mood for it. It would be very satisfying to have an open world sandbox tactical stealth action pseudo milsim game with these looter shooter elements, because the loot's already there, the crates are already there, some of the RPG elements are already there. This isn't a giant like deviation from what Wildlands was meant to be. And if you hated it, just compartmentalize your experience and play a different part of the game in a different way, by disabling tier mode and creating your own difficulty by role-playing, and that's just as much fun in this game, honestly. This would give Wildlands longevity, and this would give Wildlands players some more things to work towards and hope for and be excited about. Real quickly, I think it'd also be cool to have some like higher chances of getting items if you get headshots, undetected kills, or takedowns. That would be incredibly cool. Then you're not just encouraged to go farm enemies with machine guns and just blow up their cars with grenade launchers. You have a higher chance of getting loot if you do a silent takedown, or if you are undetected, or you take someone out from a long distance with a headshot. If this feature doesn't get implemented into Ghost Recon Wildlands, obviously, Ubisoft isn't gonna watch this video and go, hey, that's a great idea, let's put some money into this. But I think it would be a better idea to put money into something like this, which would build longevity, than just adding in like cameo events where you do a mission with another Ubisoft character, which I think is, yeah, it's fun, but this game, I think, needs some longer legs. And just adding in like a new mission every season or just a different game mode, I think that's a little weak. I think building on the PVE structure would be a really good choice for Ubisoft to give the game longer legs. So let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below, and I will see you when I see you. Goodbye. Good lord, don't eat muffins and drink coffee before making a video. This is a bloaty, dehydrated nightmare.